And good morning. And let's have 2 weeks of Monday morning ruckuses begin right now. I'm Jacob and Payne. Thank you so much for being with us for today. It is Monday, November 28th, 2022. This is that edition of Things You Might Have Heard. Now, last week we took the week off and gave you just the today things every single day in videos, plus the news stories in the newsletter. Mom's not working this morning yet. So thank you so much for joining us for those videos and the response we got for getting the birthdays in those things and for the responses of people who sign up for the newsletter. So they got the news throughout the week. I'm so glad we are expanding and people getting access to us, and we are going to keep doing things as well. We're going to do a couple of things within this week, playing around with some things for some suggestions based off the week off and some things we noticed in some of the things. So you'll see some different things or hear some different things if you're listening on the podcast. Let us know how they're working or not working for you this week. This is a week of experimentation as we roll into the Christmas season. Not sure why Christmas is about experimentation, but today, this week, we are. We have for you 10 news stories from past weekend, about 92 different stories that we captured over the weekend. And these are the top stories, some of the top stories from that weekend to tell you some things that happened, to get you into your chit chat, your water cooler talk for the day. Stop by our main website, which, as the banner will tell you in just mere moments, is thisisaconversationproject.com for more details about the Conversation Project, what we have going on behind the scenes, and a little bit of things we're doing. This week, we'll talk more about this towards the end so it don't get too long, but we have been some testing on the You're Welcome podcast, which I've promised about 3 months ago, and we're trying to figure out how to make that work out. We did a recording. Won't be released, but we did a recording, and so we have some ideas how we're going to produce that going forward. More on that as well at the Conversation Project's website. This is theconversationproject.com. Story number one for this morning on Monday, November 28th. University of Ohio killings. Police receive over 260 digital submissions. Sorry about that. Dirty glasses. We'll blame that for this morning. So over the couple of weeks we've had since the killings in the University of Idaho, where the 4 people were found murdered, stabbed in the house, police have received over 260 digital submissions on what could have happened, of different sorts of leads, things going on. And the thing is, we still have no real variable, at least they're not telling us a real variable of an idea of what happened, why it went down, what the deal is. We will learn how this works out soon. This is a story that is true crime in the making, true crime living with us, not something that's forgotten for 10 years and brought up on Dateline. This is something right now people are just really interested in, especially people at the university, because this happened to people that people knew. So in those type of cases, you get a lot of suspicion. Now, it's not like we're seeing other things happening. Right now, what we believe is, what we're being told is, the group were targeted. So this was a incident that was meant for someone in that house. But that's all we know. Very gruesome, very, very, very tragic. And we want to get the answers this one as quickly as possible. Our next story. Savannah Chrisley addresses custody of brother and niece. And the custody address is she will take custody of her younger brother and her niece / adopted little sister. This is coming from Todd and his wife going to jail. Todd Chrisley getting 12 years, I'm sorry, and his wife getting 7 years. That's 20 years of combined time, or concurrently about 7 years of time where the children don't have anyone to raise them. The daughter, I believe, is about 10 years old. So that's a big significant part of time where she will not be without parenting. Savannah Chrisley will take over that duties as her guardian for the time being. Go deeper into that story by clicking the link or going into this. This is one of those things where you hate the player, but you sort of don't want to hate the game, because there are children involved. And Chrisleys did pretty bad, dumb things. They should be punished for it, but the children have to be taken care of, and that's what we're seeing here. Protests erupt across China in unprecedented challenge to Xi Jinping's zero COVID policy. Something I learned over the weekend, something I heard just in some coverage of this, is that it's not that there aren't protests in China. It's that they're extremely small, extremely well organized, if you will, and they're not allowed to spread onto larger wildfire type things. They are all localized to various places, and there are protests to various things, like hot living conditions, working conditions, things like that. So protests happen, and there's not like every time they happen, they just crack down and beat people down. That's not how it works. But this is a big deal because the zero COVID policy is a super big deal. And this is coming up when various places where they're being locked down because of COVID, where people are rising up in these cases and not exactly playing along the lines. Nothing has been out of line. No one has gotten out of hand. But these are protests that aren't exactly sanctioned in these cases. So China does have sanctioned protests, if you will. And now China's having some more organic protests dealing with the zero COVID policy in the nation. Former Trump Surgeon General struggling to get career back on track due to Trump effect. Unfortunately, I didn't clip out all the stuff into the raw story stuff, but Jerome Powell, who was one of the Surgeon Generals, I think the last Surgeon General, essentially the Surgeon General on during COVID, is having some issues because no one wants to hire the nice guy to work for Trump. There are plenty of people who want talking heads, who want people who will throw bombs out of folks who work for Trump and will still throw bombs that way and who protect the president. But people who just sort of took the job and said, it's better for me to be here than not be here, or it's an opportunity that I won't get again, so I got to take it with this guy, are having issues getting jobs. Now, other than, people, like I said, who are tossing dirt against stuff, some on the other hand, too, there are a lot of former Trump allies who really allies working to help him do stuff, who are now singing the praises of, the light and how he was evil and how things are that. That's why they should be a part of the chatty chat group. Jerome Powell just wants to be a doctor. And now he has a full-time job with a university. But he just wanted to go back to being a doctor. And that was a difficult thing to do because of the Trump effect. Let's go on to the next story. Candace Cameron Bure unfollows Jodie Sweetin after Full House co-star shaded her over traditional marriage comments. Yeah. Ironically, this became a pretty big discussion over the holidays with the family on Candace Cameron Bure and her jumping to Great American Family, Great American Channel. I'm not sure what we ended up popping up somehow, finding the channel and watching about 20 minutes of a movie there between football and other stuff. It wasn't a Candace Cameron Bure movie. She popped up in a commercial though, because she's now the queen of that channel. But she, being Bure, Cameron Bure, has unfollowed Jodie Sweetin, her Full House sister and co-star, over her Sweetin's comments, basically, saying that Bure's comments on traditional marriage were kind of crappy. We also know that Jodie Sweetin is going to be playing in a sequel to a Candace Cameron Bure Hallmark movie where she will fall in love with the guy that Bure fell in love with before and help him save his hotel again. I have not seen it, but the description is basically it's a sequel because the same hotel, the same town, same guy, but they're not sisters, which we're finding out now why. They're basically just throwing shade on cameras. Cameron Bure in that case. Move on to this one. Unofficial Grinch horror movie will hit theaters next month. Also in production, a horror version of Bambi coming along the way. Yes, with the copyrights of all these things going away, people are using these things in very, very naughty ways. So the Grinch will not only steal Christmas, but steal, souls, I guess, kill people in this upcoming movie. We'll talk to you more about it when it hits the theaters, I guess. And we'll talk to you about the Bambi killing movie, where Bambi, I guess, gets some sort of revenge over them killing his mother. I guess. We did not see the Pooh, Blood and Honey movie because it really wasn't worth our time. But the fact that it exists is worth talking about. And you guys want to talk about, because both the Grinch headline by itself and the Bambi headline by itself both made it in. Grinch movie is coming out sooner, so we put this one in the 10 for this morning. Miami nightclubs mourn absence of high-rolling crypto entrepreneurs. This is more of a tongue-in-cheek kind of ha-ha thing, but there's an article basically saying that the nightclub world in Miami, not quite as nightclubby-ish as the high rollers that were crypto entrepreneurs with extra cash that didn't actually exist, because that cash really doesn't exist now. They're not out living high on the hog or high life or whatever you want to call it. They're not out there ruling the rules and sitting in the clubs and getting bottle service, because the money that they didn't have does not exist double time for real. And the nightlife in Miami is suffering, and nightlife across the nation is suffering. But because so many of these crypto bros just sort of migrate to hotspots, Miami hotspot, that's one right there. Check it out. It's going to be an article that it's going to tell you want to pay for. Sorry. But this is one that was interesting take that you guys got to hold on to. And so we put it in for today's 10. Woman seeks class action lawsuit over Velveeta mac and cheese prep time. Bear with me for a second because there's actually something serious to this or about this. But let's talk about this in general. The box of Velveeta mac and cheese says it's ready in 3.5 minutes. That is the time it takes to microwave Velveeta mac and cheese. A woman is throwing a class action lawsuit because she says there's extra prep along that 3.5 minutes that's not advertised, such as opening the Velveeta pack, adding water to the package, stirring it a couple times, and all that's done before you put it in the microwave for 3.5 minutes. Here's a bit of seriousness on this. Here in Little Rock, a long time ago, probably like a decade ago, there was a big deal with the police officers in Little Rock who were looking for overtime. And the overtime they're looking for was essentially putting on the uniforms because they have to put on all these big belts and straps and chest stuff and all these things and whatever. And it takes 20, 30 minutes to get dressed in the morning to show up at the station and get dressed to go to your car. And that was time before the shift started. So that's 30 minutes or so before they have to be on shift. And they had a class action lawsuit on that. That got settled into some way as extra pay a while back. But this is, all seriousness, false advertising on time is an issue. However, Velveeta mac and cheese, we're going to see if this class lawsuit goes through and how many people are going to jump on getting some mac and cheese for free. Because basically you're just getting coupons for mac and cheese and maybe some Velveeta blocks of cheese, although it's pretty tasty. Irene Cara, Oscar-winning singer of title tracks to Flashdance Fame, dies at 68, Rep says. Irene Cara died over the weekend at her home in Florida, undisclosed illness at this time. A lot of definite thoughts and prayers, a lot of love coming out for Irene Cara all weekend long with the loss of this great singer. Bob Chapek shifted budgets to disguise Disney Plus' massive monetary losses. Bob Iger back in the realm of Disney, lording over all of the stuff there, as Bob Chapek, the guy Bob Iger picked to take over for him, basically done bad. One done bad thing he did, he was hiding the fact that Disney Plus is making very little money. And he did it, the right way, wrong way, basically shifting money back and forth. So it looked like the budget for Disney Plus was basically stable. But in actuality, what was going out, nowhere near what was coming in. So what do we do about this? Well, number one, you fire Bob Chapek, and that's what happened. Number two, you go deeper in what's going on, and you try to shed some light to some of the issues on why the quick change was happening. And issues were things weren't being run very well. And here's a case where something was being run poorly. Disney Plus, which we pay for along with the whole Disney bundle, whatever they call it, the Hulu plus, because we get Hulu with it, which we don't. Well, we do watch Hulu, but we also get ESPN Plus, which I don't watch enough of that to check and think. Most of my things I can find on regular ESPN. However, we pay for it, and we pay and we know it's going up, and we pay for it because the kid likes Disney, and I like Marvel and things like that. But we're finding out that streaming services don't make money, which actually we already knew. But streaming services don't make a lot of money. And the fact that there's a bunch of them means you're buying a bunch of streaming services to basically bring your cable bill back up to the craziness it was. It is how it is. It does how it does. It be how it be. Let's go ahead and tease, if you will. And this is something we're going to do here on and off. We're going to do some tease play, if you will, going back and forth. This is essentially where you split from the news to going forward to today, tomorrow stuff. Marlon McWilliams, black man, files lawsuit against CEO who refused to hire white people. Short story. A man working for a company decided to tell his white lady boss, who's in the picture right there, that having a policy of we don't hire white people is not necessarily great for diversity because you're just, literally reverse discrimination. He got fired. You want to talk about this story or other stories? You go to our website, thisisaconversationproject.com, or you go to our feeds on Facebook and Twitter and you vote the stories up. Facebook.com/thisisaconversationproject and Twitter.com/th_conversation. Every 50 minutes, we post a news story, a new news headline. We want you to read it because we want you to know what's going on and what are conversational stories. And you tell us which ones are more conversational by engaging, liking, loving, hating, sharing, doing all that stuff. The more engaging the story gets, higher chance it gets to be on tomorrow's show. For the rest of the week, Tuesday through Friday, we do the top 8 stories of about 30 to 33 stories throughout the day. Today, for the weekend, we get about 90 or so stories, so we take the top 30 and we pick 10 from there. That's how we got today's 10. That's how we get the rest of the 8 for the week, and you make it happen by doing those great things. Now, let's talk about sponsors. Go to our website, thisisaconversationproject.com/sponsors, for a full list of sponsors to help you and help us in the process. But today's main sponsor is Robinhood, and you can find them directly by going to thisisaconversationproject.com/Robinhood. As you can see with the new Chiron, the new pictures, run your money. Robinhood has had some issues and still having issues right now with what it is and what it does. It's a place for you to manage your own investments in stocks, crypto, and cash, as it says. So with the market being down and crypto being way, way down, there's not much reason to be there, except it's a way for you to manage your money your own way. You can also just put it in there like an investment, like a savings account, and get a 1.5% on that savings, which is a lot these days. Check it out and see what's going on. They also will still give you a free stock just for signing up as a brand new customer. And you can see directly and learn whatever you want to learn to about how stocks and investing. So they have a lot of really advanced tools, like some of the big boys used to trade, that you can trade as well. You can trade on margins, you can trade on options, you can do those things as well, hopefully on a much smaller scale. My Robinhood investments, my money in my stocks has been not so great. My crypto, all sold because it's all gone. But you can still get a chance to get your hands on good stocks that will last when things turn around by going to Robinhood. Go to thisisaconversationproject.com/Robinhood for our affiliate link. We get a little bit back for you getting in there. And also remember, you get a free stock just for signing up. Let's talk about us a bit more. That being the Conversation Project. Home is a Conversation Project. I got to stop saying house because I know that sounds funny. It's really weird to say it, to be honest. But our home is the conversationproject.com. As we said earlier, we tried with the recording of the You're Welcome, because it's something I thought of months ago. We talked about Jerry Jones's picture popping up on in the news, in the archives, at the protest for Little Rock 9, basically saying Jerry Jones should have denounced the act, and denouncing people who are defending Jerry Jones on the act that was easy to denounce. And that's how that came out to be. We're going to work on some more format stuff, some more the timing stuff and things like that. So it came out okay, but wasn't quite ready for prime time yet. So coming real soon, you will get the You're Welcome podcast, which is me saying the things that you'd like to say for you, because I can still get in trouble, but you won't get in trouble. That's coming soon. In the meantime, you can go by and see the weekly wrap up. That's going to be there as well. It's always there as well. Also, the newsletter, which is good. Our sponsors, our partnership issues, and links to the feeds and every single way you can get us via the Conversation Project, via the internets at thisisaconversationproject.com. So today things, which are here for right now, November 28th birthdays include Judd Nelson, turning 63 years old today. My youth is slowly fading as I see the heroes of my youth are getting older and older. 63, not exactly, decrepit. 63 now is not 63 as it was, even 10 years ago. But Judd Nelson turning 63 and Jon Stewart turning 60 as well. Still doing his stuff and still having issues. Still a voice of the voiceless, if you will, but having some issues with some people calling him out for being ultra liberal and ultra wherever, and saying where was this stuff before. Now that he's not really controlled by corporate, although he's owned by Apple, if you will, which has an issue on its own, he's still out there saying the words for people who can't say them for themselves. Karen Gillan, 35 years old today, of course, actress in the came out this on Friday in the Guardians of the Galaxy series, and doing other great things as well, not just a blue robot, half android person. Oh, by the way, spoiler alerts, that is Bucky's arm. It's canon. Deal with it. French Toast Day is what we're celebrating today. There really were not a lot of things going on other than trade leftovers at work week, where you bring your leftovers to work and other people bring your leftovers to work and you trade them because they're tradable. But so we went ahead with French Toast Day because I love French toast. I'm not going to get any today, I don't think, but I love French toast, and it's something to celebrate. As we're running out of time, or time is what it is, let's go to the one more thing you might not have heard going out the door today. And it is this right here. If you tend to reach for spicier foods, chances are you lead a spicier life. That's according to a new survey of adults, which sought to reveal if there are any personality correlations between people who are spicy food enthusiasts. Spicy food eaters are more likely to enjoy trying new things, 76%, consider themselves attractive, 62%, and are more content with their lives, 66%, than those with milder heat preferences. I'm not sure about the actual correlation of this one, because there's a poll for a poll for a poll. There's a poll for everything, and you can vote everything. I like where this came out, but I'm not so sure about the science behind this, because I don't know who did the poll. It was probably Big Tabasco or something like that. Big Hot Sauce did this poll to use their propaganda. But it's an interesting poll. So if you're a spicier food eater, chances are you are a more spicier person. There you go. That's the way they say. That's what they say. I say today is Monday, November 28th, 2022, as I read these words live to you on the video. You may watch this in a replay video or listen to it in a podcast. We thank you so much for being with us. You may click on this and watch it as you read the newsletter, because the links are all there. Thank you so much for that as well. I am so proud to be able to do this and happy that you are along for the ride. Thank you so much for giving me the chance to do this, literally by voting up the stories I have to talk about every single weekday morning. Make sure you are staying hydrated. The other cup's in the dishwasher. Stay limber and on task for all the grand things that you are meant to do today on this French Toast Day and going forward. And get prepared for the holidays. Holidays are kind of a iffy time for folks. For me, it's kind of a mellowish time. I like to keep things kind of calm and whatever, while everyone else is basically throwing up garland and tinsel and things like that. But you do you. If you need to get a break from folks in this holiday season, find some time to lock yourself away and don't let anyone in until you're ready to come out. You do that. You have the rights to do that. Also, holidays are very lonely times. So if you are feeling not so great, 988, the new number you can text from your cell phone. You can call from your cell phone, 988, the new National Suicide Prevention Hotline. We're going to fix our graphic and have that coming up again soon. But 988 is the new number for the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. You can still use the old things as well until the end of the year. But if you need someone to talk to, there's someone to talk to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, English and Spanish. Right now, I'm going to stop talking, get ready for a grand week to come, and you should do the same. Thank you so much. Love y'all very much. Let's do this again on Tuesday.